Hey Tarosphere, it's Holly from Cape Cod Creatures, and I am here tonight with a review and flip through of The Naked Heart Tarot by Jillian Wild. And this is a lovely deck. Beaker decided that he liked it so much he wanted to be in on the fun. So we are actually going to switch to tabletop view. We're going to do a flip through of the cards, and then we'll be back for some thoughts. Alrighty, so here we have the Naked Heart Tarot and all the extras that came with it. Now, I was one of the first 75 people to pre-order the deck, so it was supposed to come with a free gift of Palo Santo, a velvet bag, and a Major Arcana sticker. But the Palo Santo was going to make it a little bit difficult for her to get the deck through customs. So what she did was she upgraded to an extra amethyst point and an extra Arcana sticker. And I think it's just fine because I've got Palo Santo coming out the wazoo. And it's honestly, it's easily obtained in just about any metaphysical shop. I'd rather have the crystal than the Palo Santo. So I wasn't too sad about that. I also upgraded my deck to the Crystal Grid starter set, just because you can never have too many crystals, right? So it came with a couple, it came with one nice big point of quartz. Well, big for what you're using it for, because the back of the deck is actually a crystal grid. So you have to keep in mind all these crystals need to be able to fit on the back of one of these tarot cards. So when I first opened it, I didn't take that into account, and I was just like, huh, why are these crystal points like all the same, like all different sizes? And then I realized they came in sets of 2 as far as the size was concerned, because the deck is, it's a rectangle and, it's like the long ones aren't going to fit on here. It's got to be the short ones on this side, But anyway, that was just me being like, derp, there's my derp moment. And then I have the 6, or it came with the 6 amethyst points. And then one of my amethyst points, I think it was either the extra one or the one that came with the deck, it looks like it kind of broke into a few different pieces. So now I have actually 4 2D little pieces of amethyst and this little point right here. Moving on to the deck, oh, I almost forgot the 2 Major Arcana stickers. So this one is modeled after the Magician, and this one is modeled after the Naked Heart, which is an extra card in the deck. So let me go ahead and try and grab that for you and see if we can focus in on the design on the sticker. It's a die cut vinyl sticker, so it actually is really cute. You can probably use that in a journal or something. I'm actually not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'll figure it out. And like I said, that one's modeled after the Magician, so those are going to go over there just for now. And then we move on to the main event, the deck itself. So the deck comes in an awesome chipboard box. It's custom made for the deck. It's got a magnetic closure. It's got the back, few of the card designs on the back, and a barcode. The title of the deck, The Naked Heart by Jillian C. Wild. And then when you open it up, the inside is finished in black. And it's got a quote by Jillian. It says, "When we strip it all away, our heart is left naked and vulnerable. Only then can we hear the whispers of our truth that connects us to the divine." And it comes with a ribbon to lift all the stuff out of the box, and probably the star of the show. I mean, I love the deck itself, but if out of all the stuff that comes with it, the little white book has to be one of my favorites in a really long time. So she crams a ton of stuff into this deck. I mean, I cannot even believe the information that comes in it. But you've got the table of contents, so you get symbolic keys and connecting to the cards. Then you've got working with the back of the deck. You've got the major and minor arcana stuff, and it's just awesome. You've got reverse meanings. You've got elemental stuff. You've got all sorts of good additional meanings. She explains the artwork, like why she drew what she drew. I mean, you've got about 280 pages in this little white book. I honestly would love to see her maybe expand on it and come out with a full-size book. I just feel like I'm going to be leafing through this so much. I'd like to actually... Oh, that's no good. So the binding on the back of mine looks like it's actually already starting to come a little unglued, just because of the size of the... Oh, I'm sorry, Jillian. I just noticed that. And I think it's mostly because the size of this little booklet. It's gonna be leafed through so much that I just think a larger book would probably serve the whole deck better. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and glue that tonight and see if I can fix that. But it's a great book. It's chock full of awesome information. And then you have a dedication card. It's back the same as all the rest, and just is a little like, oh, this is why I created the deck and whatnot. And then you have the deck itself. So we're just going to go ahead and lift this out. Now, this deck is edged in a in kind of like a metallic black color, and I like it. I love when black decks are edged in black. My edging is wearing off a little bit already. It came out of the box a little faded in a few spots. And that isn't anything that can't be touched up. So I'm not too worried about that. My main thing with gilding is usability, and so far nothing is flaking off on my hands. That's always the thing that I look for the most. I'll run a finger across that. Like the Doreen Virtue decks are famous for their tarot glitter. There's a few other decks out there that I could probably think of and name. Just the sheer amount of glitter that comes off the deck is nuts. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and flip through the deck soon. So we've got the full card here. A note on the cardstock, it actually seems pretty usable. Every time I think about going to use this deck, I actually haven't had a chance to really use it yet. I always remember the cardstock being thicker than it actually is, and I think it's because the box is as deep as it is. And I keep forgetting that a bunch of that is actually the guidebook. So I'm always like, oh no, I'm going to have to use this deck and it's so thick. And then I remember like, no, it's actually not that bad. So for a tarot deck, it's actually pretty usable size. You know, and like I said, the cardstock is decent. The varnish on the card seems to be pretty good. There's maybe like 1 or 2 spots where it looks a little scuffed, but you expect that with a varnished deck anyway. It's rare that you're going to see a varnished deck that doesn't have a few spots on it that aren't 100% perfect. But anyway, the artwork is really where this deck shines, and it's some sort of weird hybrid between pop art and ink and line work, and just the most amazing the most amazing images. One of my favorites, of course, being the High Priestess. I love an owl, but look at all that stuff in there. I mean, it's a gorgeous card to begin with, and I just can't even. The Earth Mother. So instead of the Empress, you have the Earth Mother. That's the other thing I should have mentioned. She actually renames a few of the cards in this deck. So you've got the Earth Mother instead of the Empress, and you've got the Sky Father instead of the Emperor. And I don't know why, but this one just tickles me. I just really enjoy this card so much. And then you've got the Hierophant. I'm actually surprised she didn't rename this one, but it's such a minimalist deck with tons of symbolism in there. I just can't even. And then you've got the Lovers with the 2 eagles. It will be interesting to see why she chose the eagles. You've got the Chariot with a two-headed Pegasus. The Strength card is the Lion, but it's not your typical. It's more like it's not a chimera so much, but it's almost like a sphinx. The Hermit. You see a turtle and an owl. Actually, for Hermit, you either see turtle or owl a lot. And here she combined them both, but I love the turtle symbolism there. It does kind of remind me a little bit of the Wild Unknowns Hermit, but not too bad. And then you've got the Wheel of Fortune. I just really enjoy this card. The Justice card. The Hanged Man is an upside down fruit bat. He is one of my favorites, and I think it's probably like the little stars right here. The Death card, very subtle, but it doesn't shy away from the death imagery, which is really nice. And then you've got Temperance, the Devil. This one I found was really interesting, especially with like the arms and stuff hanging off of there. And something about it makes me a little bit uneasy, and I think that's how the Devil card is really supposed to make you feel. The Tower, I think, is genius. Then you've got the Star card. It's just so beautiful, and the colors just pop. The Moon. A good Moon card is actually, 9 times out of 10 is going to be one of my requirements for a deck when I go to buy it. Like, I have to really, really like the Moon card. Let me see if I can go ahead and focus in on some of this detail, because I feel like I'm not giving her artwork the credit it deserves as far as the detail is concerned. Sorry, dog hair owns my life. But she does a fantastic job with the artwork. And then one of my most favorite cards in the deck has to be the Sun card with that. Look at that beautiful scarab. Then you got Judgment, another gorgeous card. The Universe. And the Naked Heart. This is the extra card in the Arcana. So there are actually 23 cards in the major Arcana total. Let me see if I can focus in on this for you. It really wouldn't do the sticker too much. But yeah, this is a gorgeous card too. And then you've got the Ace of Wands, Ace, the 2, the 3, the 4. The 4 is a little jarring for me. It's a cute card, don't get me wrong. But so far we've seen pretty much all nature images, or, you know, just natural stuff. And then the 4 of Wands, you've got a cupcake. And I do love me a cupcake. It is evidenced in every single picture of me. I love cupcakes. But to see like a human baked good in this card so far that's been nothing but natural or biological imagery is a little weird. But that being said, I've grown to love the odd man out cards. Only because it draws your attention to them in kind of a neat way. So, and usually when they show up in readings like that, it means something. I mean, this isn't, you know, this is like the homecoming, like the homey feeling kind of a card in the tarot. It's not the only one. So if this shows up instead of, let's say, like the 10 of Cups or what have you, like you need to figure out why exactly the cupcake is showing up as opposed to that other one. And you've got the 5 of Wands. So this is the first one where she really gets a little bit pippish with this. This is kind of very reminiscent of a Thoth or a Marseille style. And then you've got like little arrows and stuff, and the fire is kind of indicative of the fighting. And actually, if you look at a regular Rider-Waite card, you can tell like the sticks are almost in the same exact kind of a shape, with the exception of the central one. And then you've got the 6 of Wands, the 7 of Wands. So these are interesting. The 6 of Wands, well, the horse imagery isn't, like, it kind of does kind of jar the remembering of the 6 of Wands. That's the one with, like, the guy comes riding in on a horse and he's victorious about, you know, it's just basically a card of victory and a card of a champion or what have you. And he's riding on a horse. So when you got this cute thoroughbred here and, like, the 6 Wands, and that's kind of neat. The 7 of Wands is a little, it's a little bit of a stretch. So you've got a mountain lion or a puma. I think that might be a puma, and it's baring its teeth, and, you know, we're kind of fighting against some stuff. But again, this gets a little pippish with some of these cards. So it's not, I wouldn't say that this is a great deck for beginners. You should have at least a decent foundation of your Rider-Waite imagery. The 8 of Wands, though, we go right back into some of the pretty blatant symbolism. This is pretty close to the Rider-Waite 8 of Wands. The 9 of Wands, I think we're getting there a little bit more with the 9 of Wands. You got that guy that's built the wall behind him, and he's kind of busy. I'm not exactly sure, and he's like exhausted and reflecting on the work that he's done. I would have to read about why she chose the chimpanzee for this to really figure out what she's got going on in here. I haven't gotten that far in the guidebook yet, admittedly. And then we've got the 10 of Wands. This is a great one for the 10 of Wands, the guy carrying his bundle of sticks into market. And then you've got the Child of Wands. So her court cards aren't, they aren't Page, Knight, Queen, King. So you've got the Child of Wands, It's this cute little foxy here. And then you've got the youth instead of the knight. I think child and youth probably could have been reworded a little bit better just to connote the difference in age. I don't know, like it seems to me like, you know, the child, child and youth is kind of interchangeable. You can tell by you know, this fox is clearly still a puppy and this one is on his way out of puppyhood, the difference. But if you're not too familiar with the deck and you're just pulling these cards, it could be a little bit confusing. So the youth and the child of wands, and then you've got the mother instead of the queen, and you've got the father instead of the king. And then we move on to the cups. So you've got that tentacle guy, you've got the, there's a lot of water symbolism in here, and a lot of emotional symbolism in the cup suit, which is great because that's actually what the suit of cups is all about. And then occasionally you have oddballs like the bunnies. Like I love the bunnies, but they don't have too much to do with like water symbolism. I don't know, but bunnies are also very emotional and they have a good time. So I could see why you would put bunnies in there. You've got the panda. The Five of Cups. I love this one. I love this one. The color, like the blue, just, you know, it has the feeling of sadness and grief, and I think that's supposed to be a crow. If it's a raven, forgive me, but, you know, of the black corvid associated with mourning, it's usually going to be the crow. You've also got the Six of Cups, which honestly, this is perfect. So this is another time where we see, again, something that's kind of man-made. It's a carousel horse. So this is the second card where you see something that's a little more, like I said, man-made, as opposed to like natural and biological stuff. So this one is the card for nostalgia, and I don't know about you guys, but I haven't exactly ridden a carousel lately, so this is a good one for nostalgia. And then the Seven of Cups. This one is genius. So talk about a head in the clouds kind of a card, right? Usually the Seven of Cups card you see when there's like a big decision, you're not really sure what to do. Maybe you're not paying too much attention to the choices that you're making, and you've kind of got your head in the clouds, and this giraffe literally has his head in the clouds. So this is like amazing. And then you've got the Eight of Cups, which is a polar bear walking away. And the Nine of Cups. So this one is a little weird for me, only because it reminds me so much of the Moon card. Normally the Nine of Cups is that guy looking all smug, sitting in front of his 9 cups being like, yeah, I've got everything that I could ever possibly want. And where this one kind of reminds me of the Moon, which has kind of got like that mysterious, you know, maybe nightmare, irrational fear kind of thing going for it. Like it just kind of, it doesn't read to me the same way that the Nine of Cups and the Rider-Waite normally would. But again, I think that's just a matter of trying to see like why, like, you know, reading the guidebook and figuring out why she drew what she drew. And then you've got the Ten of Cups. This one is gorgeous. Another one of my favorite cards out of this deck. It's one of the most colorful cards. And then you've got the Child of Cups. I love that the court for cups is a whale. So you've got the Child of Cups and the Youth of Cups. And then you've got the Mother of Cups. I love the use of the starfish. They almost look like lilies for her hair. And then you've got the Father of Cups. I also love how she brought feminine and masculine energy to these whales. It's not easy to do. And then you've got the Ace of Swords, butterfly. The Two of Swords is the anchor. So this one's a little weird to me. Like I get that there could be like something that's weighing you down. Oh, I just noticed this, but the handles for the swords are feathers, you guys. Like I can't even, how clever is that? So the anchor is a little weird for me to see this here. It does remind me that in the background of the traditional Two of Cups, there's like a lot of water imagery going on, or for the Two of Swords, there's a lot of water imagery going on, but, in this instance, I don't know, it feels more like a Cups card to me than it does a sword, but you've got the Moon to like all of this does kind of give you kind of like the, like, this is a swords card, remember which one it is. And then the 3 of Swords, I think, is another genius card. You've got a rib cage in the shape of a heart. And then you've got the 4 of Swords. You got a cute little black cat right down there taking a little nappy. And then the 5 of Swords. I find it interesting that there are actually a lot more aquatic animals in this suit than there are in the cups, it seems. So you've got the 5 of Swords, which is the shark. The 6 of Swords would be the sea turtle. Then you've got the 7 of Swords for a raccoon. This one is actually kind of perfect for the 7 of Swords, because raccoons are sneaky little shits. We think they're adorable, but they are. And then we've got the 8 of Swords. It's a rose wrapped in thorns with the swords around it. That's very traditional 8 of Swords imagery right there. Then you've got the 9 of Swords, which would be the Nightmare card. And this one's kind of nightmarish, right? You've got, traditionally, it's the person sitting in bed covering their eyes, and you've got the swords on the wall in the background. But this one's kind of scary. And then you've got the 10 of Swords, which is a rat with all the swords in it. And that one's very, very sad. So we've got the child. So for the sword suit, we've got black panthers, actually, or black cats, I should say. I think these are panthers, though. So you've got the Child of Swords and the Youth of Swords. Then you've got the Mother of Swords, the Father of Swords. This one is, again, one of my most favorite cards, actually. It's kind of hard to see the detail she's got going on in there, but let me see if I can get it to focus for you guys. Again, this camera's being such a turd. I'm not sure why, but those little butterflies have so much detail in them. And I wish my camera was better so that way you could appreciate the artwork a little bit more. And then we've got the Ace of Pentacles, the 2. I love this one for the 2. It has such a sense of balance and juggling with this. The hourglass, I think, is genius imagery for that. And then, and again, like, that's another rare that we see it, but there we've got some man-made imagery. I think the last one, in the last suit, we had the anchor. So now we've got, and I just love this 3 of Pentacles. I was a big fan of Edward Gorey when I was growing up, and my favorite bedtime story was The Bug Book, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. So you've got the 3 of Pentacles with the ants carrying their little pentacles up the hill. The 4 of Pentacles is the squirrel, you know, trying to hide his nuts away for the winter, being a little controlling about it. The 5 of Pentacles, I like that that's a broken diamond and a broken strand of pearls. For that, this is usually the one that kind of connotes a little bit of sickness or illness or a misfortune or what have you. But, you know, like right around the corner, help is there. And there's usually a church window right here, and the 2 figures kind of hobbling along. But, I mean, you know, all things said, like, yeah, the stuff is broken, but you still have pearls and you still have a diamond. Like, there's still some value there. The 6 of Pentacles. I love this. I had a beta fish growing up and he was awesome. But the 6 of Pentacles is the card of charity and giving. And the thing that I like about that is this over the regular card. Normally you have like a figure here and he's handing like 2 kids or whatever some money. This has more of like a coming and a going, but less in the 2 of, where the 2 of Pentacles is more like juggling. This is cyclical. Like you've got to spend money to make money. You've got to give money to get money, kind of a thing. Like just it kind of reminds you of the ebb and flow of finances. And, you know, kind of like it almost has a Wheel of Fortune vibe to it too. Kind of like, yeah, you know, maybe you don't have a lot of bucks right now, but you'll have a lot of bucks later, and like don't worry too much about it. This is it's a really good card for that, and I just really appreciate it. Then we've got the 7 of Pentacles. This is traditionally you've got the gardener, you know, waiting to harvest his stuff, but I think this is a little more fantastic and on the nose to the message. You've got 1 pentacle here that's been planted and from which, you know, a tree has grown, and you can harvest all the rest of the fruit off of it. Then you've got the 8 of Pentacles, busy beaver. I enjoy that. That's a little That's actually a really fun. I don't know why, I really like him. He reminds me of Mr. Beaver from Narnia. Then we've got the Nine of Pentacles is the flamingo. Usually that would be the woman in the garden with the falcon, but you know, kind of a self-made woman who's, you know, or not necessarily woman, but a self-made person that's kind of living the opulent, shelby life. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you've got the Ten of Pentacles, which is the possum. I would have to read about why she chose the possum, but possums are actually really misunderstood. So I appreciate the appearance of one in this deck. They eat ticks, and that's all you really need to know about them. So yay, possums. And then we've got, oh, they're also North America's only marsupial. And they're really good parents. So that's probably why she chose to put them as the Ten of Pentacles. And maybe to remind us that just because we have a legacy, because possums are often viewed as scary and creepy and gross, just because we have a legacy doesn't mean that legacy is true. So then we've got the Child of Pentacles, the Youth, and these are buffalo, by the way, the Mother of Pentacles, and the Father of Pentacles. And that does it for the deck flip through. And then I think the last thing that I have to show you is how to use the crystal grid on the back of the deck. And for that, I'm actually going to use the intro card. So you flip the deck over, and this is the back of the deck. So you would take your big point and you'd put it right in the center. And then you take your your laser points and you put them, you know, you just arrange them according to the pattern on the deck. You can do whatever direction strikes your fancy. So you put your 4 big long ones there, and then you can put your short ones. I think this is actually, I'm actually just assuming that this is why they put the short little ones in here, but if this is why they did it, it's kind of genius, because there you go. Like, they fit perfectly on the back of the card. And then you can put your amethyst points wherever it is that kind of strikes your fancy. Some people like to align them with their quartz points. I, on the other hand, like to either stagger them. Well, it also depends on how I'm feeling that day. Maybe I will align them. So you can do that if you wanted. But that is how you use the crystal grid, and you set your intentions and all that good stuff. But that's basically what that looks like. And you don't have to use the crystals that it came with. You can, of course, use your own. But yeah, so that is it for the flip through. Okay, so as far as shuffling the deck, it does fit nicely in the hand. It's standard tarot size. So if you're familiar with like a Llewellyn or a US Games deck, and you can handle those pretty well, you'll be able to handle this deck no problem. Let's see. It rifles decently. It definitely needs to be broken in a bit. The bridging, again, that's a little stiff, but this is, I think, the second time I've ever shuffled this deck, so it's to be expected. Always break your decks in on a flat surface. Be gentle with your indie decks if you can. Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can, I'll just show that to you. And with this deck, this is why I kind of have, like, I like when decks are edged in black, but I have a love-hate with it, because I've already chipped it with my fingernail right there. Like, that's really, boo. Hold on, wait, no, that might actually just be paper. No, that was me. Yep, nope, I chipped that. Yeah, I chipped that card. Yeah, that is definitely, pull that card out. So that is kind of sad face. That was one of my fingernails. I felt my fingernail go into the card. I don't know if you can see it from here, but that is definitely flaking off. At this point, it's paper that's been chipped up, and it is what it is, I guess. Ew, that's what I get for having long fingernails. So if you have long fingernails, be careful with your Naked Heart deck. That's really sad. So I guess that's a reason to switch to hand over hand shuffling. It's easier on your indie decks. Yeah. So if you have a deck that's edged in black, that's again, I think that's one of the things that people who edge their decks in black never really get back to tell you. Like, the paper is white underneath. So if you're edging chips a little bit, you're constantly having to retouch it, which I think is one of the things that's kept me from edging a deck in black. I forget who it was that gave me that advice. I think I actually got it on the Eclectic forum when I was first inquiring about trimming and edging a deck. So I was going to do it to the Mary L, and they were like, whatever you do, don't edge it in black because you're going to have to retouch it, especially if you rifle shuffle. All right, so let's go ahead and do a pull for like a sample reading. So we'll do a 3-card pull just to see how the deck kind of meshes together. And honestly, I'm not expecting, something tells me, this will be the first time I've actually read with the deck. Something tells me it's not going to be that easy of a deck to get right out of the gate. All right, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles. We've got the 4 of Swords and the Child of Wands. So if you want to take the fortune cookie fast route for reading this, I would say like a new opportunity or career presents itself to you, and you're going to want to take it slow and restful and really think about, like, you know, you want to pace yourself and approach it with childlike enthusiasm at the same time, but you don't want to burn yourself out or seem overly enthusiastic and make mistakes and whatnot. So this reading to me just kind of has like that, like, and even with the deer, like, yeah, there's something new, but you don't want to spook it. Like, you don't want to scare it away. So if, you know, definitely take it slow, rest, be calm about the way that you approach the new thing. But, you know, still maintain that childlike sense of wonder. I don't know, like if you guys have ever like spotted a deer in the woods or something, there's kind of like a, oh my God, there's a deer in the woods. Like, you still want that, but you want to be like, no, but we got to calm down or we're going to scare it. Like, so it's just, I really like that Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, there just seems kind of like a, all right, so I guess I lied. This deck isn't going to be too hard to read with right out of the gate. Like, this is actually a really cute reading. I hope whoever that was for kind of understood, like, you know, I hope this hits home to whoever it is needed that reading. But this deck works really well on an intuitive level. I mean, that was a really good, I am impressed. Like, I love the artwork anyway. I was a little worried with how it was going to read, considering it's so minimalist, and I usually like to dive right in. And I love my guidebooks. I always have them within arm's reach because sometimes I don't always maintain. I have so many decks at this point. I am a jack of all decks and a master of none. I just will always have that, so I can always kind of delve into what the symbolism for each of the cards are. But where it's kind of minimalist but also packs in a ton of symbolism, I was a little bit worried about how that was going to go down. So yeah, that is the reading that with the deck. Like I said, it's completely shuffleable. The artwork is beautiful. Jillian, you've created an awesome deck. Very, I had to kind of nitpick it to find stuff about it that wasn't, you know, like I gotta be fair to everybody. There's ups and downs to everything, and I like being honest about it, but I really had to nitpick to find stuff that, you know, might have been a little bit off about the deck, and really it was hard to do. So I love the new deck. I'll definitely be working with a lot. You'll see it floating around Instagram now that I've finally reviewed it. But yeah, no, it's an awesome deck. So if you haven't ordered it yet, when she puts it back up in her store, definitely do. And it's, yeah.